Hi, beautiful people. In one of my previous videos, I spoke about being brave to share your story, and I also mentioned that I had done this blog series a couple of years ago that I'm looking at right here, and that I might actually just try out reading out some of the posts that I wrote from then that are still relevant to my life. So yeah, some things, I'll be tweaking, almost like a reaction video really to my blog post, but definitely still very, very relevant. And anything that isn't, I would change it or update it as I go, as I'm recording, so that you guys actually know where that is up to. But I wanted to read this blog that I wrote about my husband. And yeah, we'll just get right into it. So yeah, and let me know how you find it. I would be very curious to know. And I'm still making the thing of looking at the screen versus the camera. So let me just focus on the camera. I did not put my prop there today. Yeah, let me know how you're finding it. And I can just grab your feedback and make any changes is applicable. So yeah, here goes nothing. I didn't save the dates of these posts, unfortunately, because when I grabbed them off the website that they were on, I actually just grabbed the topics. So that's unfortunate. It would have been brilliant to actually still have the dates. But the time period of when I actually wrote this blog post was January 2023 till June 2023, so a period of about 6 months, or July, because I then started, like I mentioned in that video where I was talking about this, oh, excuse me, this blog series. I had taken some time off at that time, and during that time when I was in Canberra with my husband, I actually just focused on this blog post. But I did do some travel for part of that break, so I only actually picked up the blog when I came back to Australia, beginning of 2023. So I did that till mid 2023, which would be about 6 months, and when I then went back to work. So that's the period we're talking about. But like I said, I'll actually update anything that is no longer relevant or current. But this one now, I actually wrote that, and it's actually still quite applicable. So this one is called I Love My Husband But. So we'll just scroll to the blog post and I can read that out to you. Written by Ra, which is my name. Okay, so I met and got married to my husband, 7 years ago now. This one says 5. He's a kind, beautiful soul. However, I have come to know that if I were to redo dating again, I would like to have delved a little bit more into what I was weighing up in choosing a spouse. They say think about your whole self, past, present, and future, and especially future, if you're to choose the right mate for you. I love my husband, but I have some regrets. Let me explain. He doesn't know about this. When I met my husband, I was keen and ready to get married, and truthfully, the minimum requirements I had for the criteria I was looking for was very minimal. For me, as a Christian, I wanted a guy who was a Christian too, attended church and loved God. Tick, tick, tick. But the nitty-gritty of what actually makes a person who they are far more complex than that. Who was I and where was I trying to go with my life? I hadn't fully answered this question for myself. And at age 35, going on 36 years old, there was a pressure that I put on myself to settle down as soon as possible. Don't get me wrong, my husband is the love of my life now, and I can't possibly imagine my life without him. However, I chose him based on where I was 7 years ago, and did not weigh up where I would be in 5, 10, 20, and 50 years from now. The person I needed 5 years ago is not the same person that I need right now and for my future. I just did not think about it that way. My due diligence was not as diligent as it could have been. My choices at the time were marred with my ever so slight desperation to meet the love of my life, marry and find home. You know, you get to a stage where you're just like, I want to do this thing. And I guess at that time, that's where I was. Anyway, I continue. I have home and at home, I have home and am at home with my beloved. And I can only thank God for his grace and mercy. Hubby has turned out to be the added grace and a safe space for my heart that I needed. I am thankful for him, grateful for him. However, there are things I would do differently if I were to go back in time to our meeting, courtship, and getting married. I actually met and married him same year, 2018, actually from meeting him to getting married took 6 months. But that's another story for another day. I would have slowed everything down, taken the time to know myself within the relationship, to know deeper the one I was in a relationship, work out where they were going by the actual fruits in their lives, and to assess if this married up with where I wanted my life to go. And ultimately being able to have foresight of my future and what I needed for that future self above the now that was. Hindsight is 20/20, and that is very true. We do live and learn and hopefully get wiser. Being able to adjust our applications based on the knowledge and understanding we have, to have insight into more than the eye can see, and stepping out of our current, and picturing a more brilliant future and what may be the right compatible tools, people, us for that glorious future. I mean, we talk about it, but of course at the time you make the decision with the information you have. So that's what I did. Anyway, I continue. Any trait you look out for still has to be your kind of compatible. This person may be a lovely cup of tea, but are they your lovely cup of tea? And are you theirs? Not everyone who is a part of our lives right now can go with us into our future. The person we're now is not the person we will be or want to be for the future. That is the tricky and messy part of working out a potential spouse. In my experience, it requires a deep and truthful insight into who you are, what's and all. Being able to see the other person for their what's and all, and being bold, brave, and strategic enough to carefully assess if the two go together for you now and for your future. That is the key thing. That is a profound takeaway. That is a part that requires courage, and a lot of us live with and in fear, and we end up making decisions out of lack and not plenty. A pastor and mentor once told me that just because you love someone does not mean that you have to marry them. It is a jarring and almost cruel thing to think about, but it is a great, helpful truth I have found. Some key questions to ask when dating or vetting for a spouse. Do you share core values, goals, or a picture of a future together? Are you both lifetime learners and seek and embrace growth in your lives? Have you become the person that you would like to marry? This requires a whole other article to unpack. Are you seeking a mate out of desperation or with a sober mind? Whatever criteria you're looking for, is this person your kind of person? Is their humor your kind of humor? Their work ethic your kind of ethic? Their faith your kind of faith? Their love and life perspective your kind of perspective? It is great to have your initial first date niceties, and by all means savor these moments and enjoy them. However, if seriously considering someone for a life partner, then it is in our best interest to move on to the meaty parts of truly knowing someone if we're to do life with them. It is our job and responsibility to find the best suitable person we can to share and build a life together. Take time to look into how the other person fits into who and what you're about and where you're going. Choose in the right now with the future in mind. Make sure who and what they are and where they're going marries up with you. We ought to choose well. So going back to the regrets I have in marrying my husband, what I would say is I wish I had taken the time to know him more, to be confident enough to know what was going to work or not work for me, to be patient with the dating process and not rush things to the next phase, the next commitment, to have known what his daily life looked like and seeing if that was compatible with mine. Those have been the sticky points for us, just the daily habits. Oh my goodness. Given time to learn about habits and what the real everyday life looked like instead of just going with words and sweet nothings shared. And all this from a distance and without the pressure of needing or wanting a quick commitment. Because when it is all said and done, marriage is for a lifetime. Well, at least we pray that it is. And it is a really long time to spend with someone if you haven't done your due diligence or taken the space and time to have courageous conversations into the everyday reality of actually living together as spouses. Some of the kinks I've experienced in my own marriage in meshing two lives together could have been smoothed out before I got into the marriage and saved the both of us plenty of heartache. Know who you are and whom you are partnering with. And though we can't know everything or require perfection, we can be at the very least confident with our choice and hopeful for a great future with them. Having said that, I am one who believes in the choice to live life fully and trusting God with any parts of our lives where we fall short, because we do fall short. With his help, I choose to make the most with any decision that I make and to remind myself that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. You step into grace at that moment, and mine and hubby's is the grace marriage that is required, trusting God, staying commitment to the commitment, and allowing a new and greater love to grow between us. There is hope for us all. And there's a great opportunity to choose well whilst in the dating phase. Hope my musings are helpful in your dating, choosing of a mate, and maybe even in your marriage. And I always used to finish by saying, say hi and let me know your thoughts and experiences. Love, Ra. So yeah, say hi down below and let me know your thoughts and experiences. And let me know how you have found me reading this blog post to you. I think I'll title it a blog series, and hopefully you enjoy it. And I'll see if I also enjoy reading about it a couple of years later. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.